A Reddit thread started predicting a man's Google searches before he typed them. Not similar searches. Not recommended searches.
Exact sentences.
Word for word. Posted online minutes before he even thought about typing them. And according to leaked investigation files, the predictions only became accurate after midnight, when the man was alone. The thread first appeared on March 8, 2025.
2:09 a.m.
Posted by an anonymous Reddit account called Search Archive 28. No profile photo, no comments, no post history, just one thread, and a title investigators later described as psychologically invasive. Future search activity, subject 28. The first predicted search looked harmless. What causes footsteps inside apartment walls at night? At 2:16 a.m., Seattle resident Ethan Cole typed the exact sentence into Google. Word for word. The timestamp came first. Minutes first. That was impossible. Ethan Cole was 31 years old. Freelance graphic designer. Lived alone outside Seattle. Insomnia. Anxiety. The kind of guy who kept the television running at night just to make the apartment feel less empty. For nearly 3 weeks before the thread appeared, Ethan had been hearing movement inside the walls after midnight. Soft footsteps, slow scraping sounds, sometimes directly above his bedroom ceiling. The landlord blamed old pipes, but Ethan stopped believing that explanation after the sounds started following him from room to room. Kitchen, hallway, bedroom, always moving, always repositioning, like something inside the apartment understood where he was standing. At first, Ethan tried forcing himself to think logically about the Reddit thread. Predictive algorithms, browser tracking, AI behavior modeling, anything explainable. Then the thread updated again. How to know if someone is watching you through vents. Ethan immediately closed his laptop, because that was the exact question forming in his head moments earlier. Not typed, not spoken aloud, just thought briefly while staring toward the hallway vent. That was the moment fear became physical, because now the thread wasn't predicting searches anymore. It was reaching thoughts before Ethan consciously formed them himself. At 2:09 a.m. the following night, the thread updated again. What do scratching sounds inside vents mean? Ethan stared at the sentence without moving, because he had been thinking about that exact question for several minutes, without realizing it consciously. That was new, and somehow, worse, the thread wasn't just predicting behavior anymore. It was arriving before awareness itself. Ethan stopped using Google after that. Stopped opening browsers entirely. Didn't matter. The updates continued anyway. He checked the hallway twice tonight. He's keeping the bathroom light on now. He still thinks the noises stop at sunrise. Ethan read the posts repeatedly, trying to remember whether the thoughts came first or the thread did. Eventually, he couldn't tell anymore. That terrified him more than the noises, because once you stop trusting your own thoughts, every silence becomes dangerous. Then suddenly, everything stopped.
No thread updates.
No scratching inside the walls. Nothing. For 2 full days, the apartment felt normal again. Ethan almost convinced himself it was over. He cleaned the kitchen, opened the windows, finally slept without the television on. Then on the third night, at exactly 2:09 a.m., his laptop screen turned on by itself. Reddit already open. One new post waiting. No predicted search. No message. Just a black and white image. Night vision. His bedroom. Ethan asleep on the edge of the bed. Taken from inside the vent above him. Ethan physically backed away from the screen. Heart racing. Barely breathing. Then the image updated. Not refreshed. Dated. Live. Ethan watched himself sleeping from an angle that should not have existed. Then something moved in the darkness beside the bed. A shape, tall, too thin, standing perfectly still, watching him sleep. The image cut out instantly. Then the scratching inside the walls returned, louder than before, moving quickly now, directly above him. Ethan grabbed a screwdriver the next morning and removed the vent cover in the hallway. Inside, he found fresh scratch marks. Long, vertical, human. Then he noticed something worse. Food wrappers, water bottles, blankets. Someone had been living inside the walls, watching him, possibly for weeks. Police searched the crawlspaces connected to Ethan's apartment later that day. No suspect was ever found, but investigators discovered something deeply disturbing hidden behind insulation near Ethan's bedroom. Printed screenshots, hundreds of them, Google searches. Every search Ethan had made during the previous year, including searches he never remembered typing. Then investigators checked the timestamps. Many of the screenshots were printed before the searches themselves were ever made. Some were dated weeks into the future. That should not have been possible. One detective later admitted something terrifying happened during evidence processing. 3 days after cataloging the screenshots, one of the future searches occurred exactly as printed, word for word, then another, then another. That was the moment federal authorities quietly took over the investigation. Ethan stopped leaving his apartment after that. Food deliveries piled outside his front door untouched. Neighbors later reported hearing him whispering constantly through the walls late at night, sometimes arguing, sometimes asking questions softly toward the vents, then pausing, like he was listening for responses coming back. At 2:09 a.m. every night, the Reddit thread continued updating. Always one new prediction, always more personal, until eventually, the thread stopped predicting searches entirely and started predicting behavior. He unplugged the television tonight. He finally stopped sleeping. He can hear breathing inside the ceiling now. Then came the first post that truly broke Ethan psychologically. He still thinks the thoughts belong to him. Ethan reportedly called his sister after reading that sentence. First time speaking to her in almost 6 months. According to her statement, Ethan sounded exhausted, terrified, like he hadn't slept properly in days. Before hanging up, he asked her one final question. If a thought doesn't feel like yours anymore, how do you know it started inside your head? 3 nights later, Ethan disappeared. No forced entry.
No packed belongings.
No phone activity. Nothing. But investigators later discovered his laptop still open on the kitchen table. Reddit loaded on the screen. The thread still active. And at the bottom of the page, a new post had appeared after Ethan vanished. No search prediction. Just one sentence. Subject 28 archived successfully. Then investigators noticed something even worse. The Reddit account was still active in real time. Typing. A blinking cursor appearing and disappearing beneath the thread, as if someone was preparing another post. Then finally, a new title appeared. Future search activity. Subject 29. According to leaked reports, the first predicted search under the new thread appeared 4 minutes later. Posted before the victims searched it. Word for word. Exactly the same way it started with Ethan. But this time, the thread included something investigators had never seen before. A location. Chicago, Illinois.